Hello and welcome to this demonstration of my Unreal and Wwise project. This is a project that has culminated in a lot of sound design and a lot of implementation, and it's really just to demonstrate the blueprints in Unreal and also Wwise. I'll go through it as quickly as possible and demonstrate everything, but let's go and have a look at the actual projects being played first. So I'll just press the play button.
Marine, we're inbound on your position, but only just entering the solar system. You'll have to hold on until we get there. Defend yourself from the aliens at all costs. You're one Marine we're not going to be leaving behind today, that's for sure. Hang in there, Marine. We're picking up more bugs on our sensors that are inbound on your position. With any luck, we'll get there before this huge wave of them gets to you, and that I can see. Our pilots are fighting their best to get to you, but you gotta hang in there. Marine, I just want to say how well you're doing. Just don't give up. We're getting close now, but if anything does happen to you, heaven forbid, I'll notify any loved ones you have and let them know you died gloriously. Just hang in there.
I think I might have to die this round.
Marine!
Anyway, didn't get round to stopping them from attacking your dead body afterwards, but never mind. That's obviously something that's a work in progress, as a lot of the project is sort of quite unfinished, obviously. But anyway, it's enough to show off the whole process, really, of Wwise and blueprints, and of course, you know, how everything works. So let's go and have a look, I suppose, at starting off with the Marine. So this is the event graph of the whole thing, and I've created all of the scripts. So I've done all of the scripts from scratch. However, I did have a lot of sort of help with creating some of these functions. But all of the Wwise stuff, all of the Wwise implementation and creation was like synthesized basically from scratch in blueprints as well. So anything that you see which is Wwise related is completely synthesized by myself. I suppose the reason why I used this project really was because it allowed me to just focus on the sounds, music, dialogue, etc., and the implementation using blueprints. So I didn't actually go ahead and create, for instance, the landscape, which is just simply a flat landscape, and these objects are just just simple meshes with some textures on them. But rather than going ahead and focusing on all that stuff, I just simply, went ahead and focused on doing these things that were just the sounds related things. Anyway, so let's go and have a look at the Marine blueprint again. So for instance, yes, I just went ahead and had a look at the start firing function here. So how this works is once the flash muzzle commences, essentially activates, then we get this gunshot loop, which is the audio kinetic event, and that then just triggers it off over here in my events, essentially. So if I go to Marine and we go to, the gun section, here's the gun loop section, and you can, as you can just see, it's let's go over here to the loop gun. Here we go. All right, so this is it, and it's just one audio file, although I do have a couple of sine waves actually mixed in to boost it up a little bit. So, for instance, the initial sine is just to get this sort of thump going at the beginning. It's very low, and it just sort of quickly does a drop, essentially, in terms of pitch. Then I've got this loop sine, which is sustained, and this essentially rumbles underneath the gun as it's looping, to mimic the sort of rhythm of it, which is this one. Oh yeah, in terms of actual sounds, I decided to kind of do a papers please on this and just use freesound.org. And I did actually go ahead and use 2 libraries, which were Veggie Violence by Hiss and Raw, or Tim Preble, and also Swish 2 from Tim Preble as well. But everything else is either recorded by myself. The music was all done in Logic using synths, and yeah, that was pretty much it. It's also all synthesized. Some of the sounds you hear, so for instance, the health pickup is also synthesized from the same stuff. Yeah, that's all been done in Logic essentially, and I've kind of just because I've got Logic running at the moment, and I'm just actually recording this video to the Mac over Switch network. Yeah, but I other than that, I have been using Reaper on this computer, and Unreal and Wise essentially, and I use Reaper even though I'm using it to record the audio at the moment. I use it for the this extension here, which is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this extension. It means that anything I put into Reaper here can come up here, and then I can go ahead and just set my Wise import locations on here. This is how I've done all these basically, and I've gone ahead and imported all of the things on here. I've even made a couple of things like, for instance, adding project stuff to the render queue, auto trimming, stuff like that, anything like strip silence, etc. Yeah, so that kind of makes it a lot easier going. And all my sound libraries, they're located on the Mac Mini M1 I've got, which I did use to create a game in Unreal, but it is not optimized. I've got a beefier system here with a Vega 56, so in this PC. So this has been much better with Unreal, since there's no M1 ARM version of that. Anyway, I'm digressing. Apologies. So let's keep going with the when this stops, for instance, the event, the gun loop event, eventually stops. If I go to the event graph, we can go and have a look at the stop firing weapon part here, which is really good. And this will deactivate the muzzle flash, and it will also check if the Marine is alive still, and then it will actually go ahead and play out the gun end sound, and it will stop the this loops gun thing going along. So over here, we've got the play end gun here, and then there's also a stop as well for the thing, but I might have actually found a different way of doing it. So, but anyway, moving on. So when you're receiving damage as the Marine, you take damage, of course, in this event here. So if I go down to, let's have a look at the Marine, and I've got to see where the take damage is. Here we go, take damage. And here's the event. It goes ahead and triggers off a blend container, essentially. So over here in the Marine take damage, I've got a lot of stuff, essentially. Loads of bone break for one layer. This was a really interesting one to do. These two here, I think it's, let's have a look, whip sound and the bone break sound. These are both haven't got any delay on them at all, but the rest do. I would show you in Reaper, to be honest, but I managed to make a bunch of tracks and managed to keep all of the audio files to a certain amount of delay, basically. So they all have the rules, essentially, when it comes to the amount of delay, and I combine them all together here. So, for instance, there's quite a few layers in here, so and they're mostly made of vegetable violence. Yeah, so let's just have a look at this. So there's quite a lot of stuff going on, and I don't think I went into. I did do a compressor and a peak limiter for this to kind of make it sound, more intense, I suppose, and to give it a tiny bit of harmonic distortion, etc. But anyway, so there we go. Because there's a lot of stuff's competing in this. Footsteps, we don't need to go in this too much. I have triggered the footsteps in a really kind of easy way. So if I just go to my content draw down here, let's have a look at the Marine. I might have already got him up here. No, it seems, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's just put him back. Must have him open already. Let's have a look around. Yeah, well, there we go. That's a shame. Oh. Oh, hang on a second. Sorry, I think I'm just... yeah, that's the blueprint. Sorry, I'll need to go into the animation. So let's keep going. Let's go to characters, marine, animations, and then I've got all of the animations here. That's right, that's the one. Good stuff. So here's my blend space, basically, which I'm using to do the movement. Here we go. And in here, I've got the animations. And essentially, if you go ahead and open up, for instance, death animation, it's going to repeat a lot, unfortunately.
Marine!
Oh, God.
Marine!
Anyway, yeah, and then it recommences all of the ambience as well, which I'll go into in a minute. But anyway, so I've got these audio kinetic events, basically, which are triggering off all of these sounds in here, essentially. So I've got all my events in my Wwise folder. It's automatically generated, very nice. And these go ahead and just kind of match up the events here, and it's all great. So fantastic. Anyway, yeah, so that will just play out indefinitely, basically. Just have a quick look at, for instance, the left running, and I'll just play this. So you can hear that the animations essentially on this thing. So let's just have a look at this. Odd, it's still coming out of one speaker. I can't. That's very strange. Normally it's just coming out of just center channel. But anyway, so run backwards is exactly the same, and all of these are triggering off the footstep thing, which is kind of a little bit sort of rudimentary, I suppose. Here it is, the actor mixer, and then you've got the random container. I suppose you've got the pink noise as well. I've added a bit of pink noise on this thing. So it's very, very subtle, though. I did turn it down quite a lot because it was quite obvious, although it could be brought up now a little bit more. So there you have it. That's the footsteps, which if you get the blend space, it will just use the events and trigger them all off automatically. So that's how I've done it with the alien as well, essentially. Anyway, let's just go back to the marine so we can finish this off. So yeah, as we go along. It would be nice to do something with player health, for instance, as it goes down. It controls an RTPC, for instance, on my music here. So if I was to carry on with this, I would actually use all these, because I've got all the, I've basically made some stems and of the calm music here, and then the combat music, same thing. And they can be manipulated by the RTPCs, essentially, so that are coming from here. Which would be my next thing I would do. Especially if, as the health decreases, I would increase some of the combat things to make it seem more intense, etc. So there's all kinds of things you can carry on with. So yeah, loads of good scripts, and yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is the tracing part, so the ray casting section. Yeah. Here we go. I think I'll go on to the alien to avoid to just move on with this thing. So the alien, as it's coming out, you get this. I got this alien chattering event looping. It just checks to see if the alien's dead or not, and if it is, then it stops the loop essentially. And this is how it attacks. It'll find the location in the nav mesh of the player, checks to attack essentially, and it obviously instigates the whole thing. Let's have a look though at the damage to alien, which is where things start happening. So here we have, for instance, the take damage event being triggered from when the alien gets damaged. Setting the alien as dead will commence a lot of stuff essentially. So yeah, if we go, and it just carries on and on and on essentially. But yeah, we've got a little death animation that lasts about 3 seconds or so. Yeah. Anyway, so there's quite a lot of stuff down here. All of these functions, there's a lot of them, and but it all works really well, which is great. This is my Wwise music object, so in order to get the music to play, this is something I had to obviously just, I think, synthesize really out of. Well, I've got a few things, like, for instance, event dispatches, which I'm using here to essentially cast from the actual game mode, because you can't use the game mode to actually produce any audio because it doesn't exist in the game. So, but it is controlling a lot of things. So I've actually combined a few things here in the code to actually just get these two things to trigger this section off to save a little bit of real estate, essentially. Here's one of my set states that I've got. So if I go to my game syncs, you can see over here Marine, which is the group, and then I've got my different states here. And if I just go to here we go. So all of these, all of the different ones here, and they will then go ahead and you can get all the music to essentially go from between these transitions. If I just go to music and transitions, here we go. So as you can see here, my transitions were music calm, music combat, death, etc. Music, they all go between the two. The music death didn't really work very well because it was trying to make it immediate, but it didn't actually work, which was a bit of a nuisance. And kind of just so what I did was because I wanted that music to come out immediately. So in my default work unit over here, which is where I've got all my sounds, really, I've actually put in a test. So this is sort of like a temporary thing. Test death music, and this will stop all of the if I go to the events, you'll see that the death music somewhere, wherever it is, death commences. Here we go. So it will stop everything and then it plays everything, and I've got the death music. So it's a bit like the Metal Gear Solid thing, as you could probably tell. It was a bit of a homage to Metal Gear, which is just the way things go. Anyway, so let's have a look. Anyway, if I just quickly go through, for instance, I haven't got anything on Spawn Alien, actually. That was another thing I wanted to do, though, was make something that you could easily hear that the alien would spawn. For instance, there's loads of things I would like to add into this, to be honest. Setting the state to combat comes from the once we've done an incremental add for our current wave to make sure the wave goes up and up. Once that happens, I will set the state in Wwise. Here we have anyway, so I'm going to move forward a little bit faster than usual. But anyway, so that's the game mode, and that's the music essentially. So I suppose we'll come to health pickup, and I might just leave it there. But anyway, so obviously you go ahead and you grab the health pickup, and essentially I've just gone ahead and attached a little Wwise event to it. So if I have a look at what I'll do is I'll try and wrap this bit up on here, because I think it's all very good in terms of actual, when it comes to coding, because it's all the same stuff that we've got elsewhere. And there's but it's just a really nice way of of using code, essentially. So I think it's great. But if I just keep going, and so in the health pickup, I just used my random container for this. So let's go to health. Where is the health? UI. I've got it under health increase, and I've just got loads of these, and it's way too many, to be honest. And it's all good, and but I'll see if I can find any. Something that's interesting with in terms of Wwise is the ambience, because I've made all of the ambience out of just these generators. So I really like using generators. Here we go. Just have a listen. I mean, it is space with aliens, so I could go further and further, and I have done this sort of thing with the sea before. I've kind of made noise generators that do the sea. And so with this, I've got bass white noise, and the way I've just got it's just it's not white noise, it's pink noise, by the way. But anyway, I've just got an EQ, and I'm using a few sort of RTPCs to change it. So I've got a LFO, which is doing the changing the frequency on a boost, essentially. I've got a little sort of boost that's going along a little peak. And then with this, I've got a little bit of an LFO going that I've actually got another LFO to manipulate it as well, essentially. So I've got two LFOs. One is the control LFO, and one is the actual LFO that controls the gain. And this creates a sort of a rhythmic sort of flutteriness to this to the ambience. And then I said this was clicking, and I was thinking I would make a clicking sound, but it turned out to be a little sort of rustly, sort of chattery noise, and it worked really well for the alien. Interesting enough, I did this pitch change, and that worked quite well, so I kept it in. It's quite a drastic pitch change. It's a whole 2 octaves down for just noise. Anyway. But then I found it was really good using the flanger on this, and also, and if I just show you how it works. So let's just go back to here. There we go. I mean, it's very quiet, unfortunately, but if I just turn up a little bit. This is because it's just in the background, but the actual enemies also have this sort of the same sort of thing duplicated. So the flanger itself, if I just bypass that, sounds a bit more like shakers, but this sounded a bit more like a insect sound. And it's really good because we're not using any files, we're just using generators, and very simple generators as well. Just this one is white noise, if I'm honest, and the other one though, the bait is pink noise. So I sort of prefer pink noise for the sort of ambience, whilst white noise is really useful for this kind of stuff. But the flanger worked really well, and I suppose it's just making this sort of tonalness to the sound, which works brilliantly. And yeah, that was good. So I'm a big fan of using all these things essentially to create. You know, it doesn't take long either. It really is quite quick. Anyway, so that's really it. I think that's quite well. If I just go over the music section, I quickly when it comes to the music, I made sure to make the transitions, and I also made sure to you know, for instance, transitions are, let's just have a look. So these are, I'll just have a look. Here we go. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Anyway, the transitions, they're only about a second or so they quickly switch between them. And yeah, it sort of works quite nicely. And I suppose it would go a little bit further would be to, you know, bring out some more of this stuff. But yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, one more thing, of course, is the dialogue. So dialogue is really quite simple. I think I've just used a sequence container with a playlist down here, and the playlist just sequence through. Whenever the game's restarted, I always just also restart the whole playlist because I do want them to listen to it in order. And then I made this in Reapers super fast. I think I just used DMG audio plugins to create the voice, and just made up the words. It was a one-take wonder sort of thing, which yeah. And there's a couple on here though. There's this one.
Gosh darn it, Marine. If that ain't the best fighting I've ever seen. You've been promoted to early retirement.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't get to use because that was meant to be the end screen, which I didn't get around to. So anyway.
Marine.
Oh
Marine.
God.
Marine.
Stop. 1 minute. There we go. Anyway, and then I just got these playlist ones. So.
Marine, we're inbound on your position, but only just entering the solar system. You'll have to hold on until we get there. Defend yourself from the aliens at all costs. You're one Marine we're not going to be leaving behind today, that's for sure.
I don't know. I think I got the inspiration from like Halo or Starship Troopers. I was actually wanting to make the music like Starship Troopers, then I thought, no, it's much better just to make it synthesized. Okay, I mean, that's probably it, really. I think that's enough to just quickly have a look through, and I'll do a bit of commentary on this thing. But yeah, 24 minutes is enough, so I don't want to waste any more time.
Marine, we're inbound on your position, but only just entering the solar system. You'll have to hold on until we get there.
Yeah, it could be a bit
Defend
darker.
yourself from the aliens at all costs. You're one Marine we're not going to be leaving
Could obviously have a tutorial
today,
screen and a menu and everything like that. Reload. I would love to do a reload and have a few different animations. Maybe change actually the scream it does, which was just a beeple I found with 3 sounds, which I did affected.
Hang in there, Marine. We're picking up more bugs on our sensors that are inbound on your position.
When it comes to...
With any luck, we'll get there before this huge wave of them gets to you, and I can see. Our pilots are fighting their best to get to you, but you gotta hang in there.
When, for instance, the yeah, I love the way the gun sort of feels. Really, it's much better with that impact at the beginning. I could definitely do a little bit better with the
Marine,
smack sound.
Marine, I just want to say how well you're doing. Just don't give up. We're getting close now, but if anything does happen to you, heaven forbid, I'll notify any loved ones you have and let them know you died gloriously. Just hang in there.
I haven't really done much about the mouse sensitivity either, so it's super sensitive. Oh dear, that was bad. Anyway, looks like I'm going to die. If I go out of the level, then I will die.
Marine! Marine! Marine!
Anyway, I think I better leave it there. That is the end of my demonstration. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.